start the prayer. So this prayer, it's good for everybody to chant and get familiar with. So we will find a way where maybe we can take turns. Students can also chant out. So that way we don't have to have everybody's audio in the future. But for now, those who want to join can join for a few sessions. Okay, so let us chant together. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe
Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Parthaya
Parthaya
Pratibodhitam
pratibodhitam
Bhagavata
Bhagavata Narayana
Narayana
Swayam
Swayam Vyasena
Vyase
Gratitam
Gratitam
Purana
Puram
Munina Madhye Mahabharata.
Mahabharate.
Okay, if you want to repeat after me, can just do that. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam
Om Parthaya pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayana Swayam
Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam.
Vyasena gratitam Puranam Munina Madhye Mahabharate.
Advaitamritavarshiniം Bhagavatim Ashtadashadyayini
Advaitamritavartini Bhagavati Mastadasadhyayini.
Amba Tvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadvechiniം
Amba Manusandadami Bhagavate Bhagavad.
Sarvopanishado Kavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha
Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanam.
Artho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahata
Artho Vatta Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Mahat.
Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam
Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam.
Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum
Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.
Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankum Langayate Girim
Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim.
Yet Kripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam.
Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam.
This one I will just chant. You can, if you know, you can join me. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rutra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sangapadakamo Panishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam na vidusura suragana devaya tasmai namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll just take a minute and just try to feel an attribute of the divine that you most relate to, such as love, guidance, joy, and try to feel that presence, divine presence in your heart. Om Namo Narayanaya. Okay, so we are we are looking at the Bhagavad Gita, the very first shloka. So, as we know, we looked at this shloka last class. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha. Mamakav Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So the blind king who is not able to see, he is asking the help of his charioteer who has the divine vision to see what's happening on the battlefield. And he tells him in that battlefield, which is also the field of Dharma and Adharma. It is not just Dharma Kshetra, means it is the field of where Dharma is supposed to be done, but Adharma is always there and it is trying to combat Dharma. So when these warriors gather together, and who are these warriors? These are me, mine, and Pandavas, mine and others. So this is what we go through in our life, a constant kind of a thing. There is a sense of minus and there is others. And this is the duality we are constantly experiencing in this life. And this is the basis of Dharma and Adharma in this context. So we looked at it that this battlefield is not an outer battlefield, it is the battle within us. For a sadhaka, we are talking of this inner battle. At the basic level, this inner battle manifests as the battle of our daily life, we go through social battle, society related battle, battle between what we want and what is stopping us to get what we want. So this is a common battle that all of us are obviously aware of and we go through. So everybody this is the competition, as we say, right? Everybody is trying to get ahead than others. But that is not all. That is just at the material level. Whatever happens at that level manifests also at the psychological level. It leaves us an impression. Okay, so let me just stop this. So, so this, what happens is this inner battle, how does it become an inner battle? When we try to get what we want and we don't get what we want, then it ends up becoming a battle where there is a psychological battle that goes on. So, so this is where, we discussed last class this concept of dharma. So the dharma has to do a lot with our inner being, our mental well-being and psychological, not just a scientific psychological thing, the yogic psychological thing. So from a yogic perspective, dharma is not just a how the emotions that I'm feeling. So what happens when we do dharma from a yogic level is that there is a sense of peace and fulfillment, although it's a temporary kind of peace and fulfillment. But if you give some a gift to somebody, and if you help some poor person, and if you do what you're supposed to do, there is normally that person is at peace with that himself. So from many of the people who don't follow any kind of subscribe to any religion, any spiritual thing, if they are looking for some peace in the world, they first undertake this kind of a life. So there are many people in this world, who have a sense of inner peace because they are actually acting in tune with their conscience, we can say. So this is the main point, to do dharma in such, it is most important thing is to be in tune with our conscience. And I think, as somebody was telling, what messaged me, so dharma, an important aspect of dharma from a other darshanas especially is that dharma is also has a wider role. It is the natural order of the universe, what we call as that is it is Ishvara himself, meaning that the universal law, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara, all these things we say. So, if from certain other religion, like for example, Sankhya, and then later on Buddhism also, For them, for their context, dharma is prakriti, being in line, in tune with the prakriti, with the cosmic order, So there is a cosmic order of justice and injustice. So later in the Bhagavad Gita, it comes, yada yada hi dharmasya jnanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam smrujamyam. The Lord assures that whenever that there is a higher sense of injustice and adharma going on in the world, like a lot of unrighteous activities happening in the world. The Lord says, I will take birth, meaning I will incarnate. So this is from a Hindu cosmology that Lord incarnates again and again to ensure that there is that order. But from a more subtle and a spiritual aspect, it is not like necessarily a physical form of the Lord incarnating. It is that the nature has its own way to kind of correct itself through people and through situations. So one of the main ways that nature uses to correct this is the law of karma. So at an individual level, that manifestation of dharma is upholding this law of karma. So when somebody does a good thing, they get rewarded sooner or later. And they do a bad thing, that also they get rewarded. And this is the punya papa that is generally spoken about from our scriptural context. Now, taking this further, like how does dharma and adharma affect me? So we are saying that if I do adharma, then I will get some bad karma and someday it will manifest, but I don't see it, right? Many times I don't see the results. Sometimes if I work hard for a month, I will get salary. I can see that is called drishtapala. Like if I want to bake some cake or something, so I can put that bread, everything, and the dough will rise or something, and next morning you can enjoy that. Like we in India, we do idli dosas and all, right? Like we put that batter, we prepare that batter, and the next day it is ready. So that is drishtapala. Drishtapala means something you can see. Result, a result that you can see in the near future, in the manifesting future. But the religions talk about adrishtapala, that fruits that you don't see, it will come in some other life, or in this life at some point, you don't know when it will come. So a lot of Vedic rituals, the karma kanda is based on adrishtapala. So those who believe in the Vedas, especially the early part of the Vedas, they will take that as a result because they will realize that there is some unseen result I will get if I follow these rituals. So a lot of rituals are followed for the sake of adrishtapala. So now comes dharma is both of this. Plus there is a drishtapala, adrishtapala, and there is also a psychological pala, meaning there is a inner, this is from a yogic perspective. Following dharma for a yogi is including that it leaves an immediate residue in the mind. So this is what we call samskaras. The bad samskaras end up as kleshas. So the kleshas, what are the kleshas? Anybody remembers? Those especially who are there, your Yoga Sutras. Should revise on every now and then we should revise. What are the 5 kleshas?
Raga, Dvesha, Avidya, Asmita, Abhinivesha.
Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Tvesha, Abhinivesha. So these are the 5 kleshas. Okay. So now in this among these 5 kleshas, there is these are the results of adharma. So generally we say kleshas are accumulated as a result of adharma, and also kleshas come in the way of doing dharma. So it is a double effect. The first effect is that klesha Kartika, did we do the spotlight? Okay. Yeah, okay. So the first effect is that the Kleshas create bad leads to the adharma leads to Kleshas, and the Kleshas obstruct us from doing dharma. So it's a double effect that Kleshas. And the good samskaras, what do the good samskaras do? The first effect of good samskaras is it gives inner peace. Meaning a person who follows the dharmic path, even though he may not do sadhana, he may not do other rituals and all that, the immediate effect is he's more peaceful, meaning content inwardly. There's some kind of contentment that starts coming in. See the klesha, raga, especially raga is that klesha which is the cause of a lot of desires, ambitions. So I now we'll also have to get familiar who represents what. So this ambition and desire that in our Mahabharata context, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, that character who represents that, anybody remembers? Desire and ambition. So, Kartika?
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana. Duryodhana represents that material ambition and desires. So that material ambition and desires is that manifestation of it doesn't allow us to have peace. So a person who does dharma, what happens is there's a natural sense of contentment he or she starts experiencing, so that kleshas will not overtake them to that extent. But of course, in the from that Mahabharata context, ultimately ambition or the desire, ambition meaning good ambition is fine, that comes from sankalpa. Conscious responsibility related ambitions are accepted, especially in the Bhagavad Gita context of pravritti marga. But obsessive, negative, and destructive desires and ambitions, addictive ambitions, those are kleshas. Those are what will not help us move further on the path. So ultimately, it is not just viveka. So a person who has a lot of addictions, he may know what is good, what is bad. That is what Duryodhana says. I janami dharmam nachame pravritti. I know what is dharma, but I don't want to do it. Janami adharman nachame nivritti. I know what is adharma, but I don't want to stop it. There is something that is sitting in me which is pulling me to do what I want to do. So that is the kleshas. That is that psychological thing, and it is a result of adharma, and it will not allow us to do dharma. So now comes this part I'm explaining because also we have to understand this part of the dharma. What is it that doesn't allow us to do dharma, and why should we do dharma also? That also we should understand. Why should we do dharma? What is it that doesn't allow me to do dharma? So then again, now comes this part. Why should we do this? So of course, one is, as we said, peace, but also there is another aspect. Dharma is the immediate antecedent, or it precedes moksha. So for one who wants to be free from the samsara, like for those who are just wanting a good life, a peaceful life, a life that you can somehow manage through in this life, then the path of dharma is good enough. So many of the basic teachings of many teachers, who came right from Buddha to many people, even today in India, many people say just lead a good life, follow the right life. That is enough, because that knowledge is not there, that one doesn't have that real need and desire to be free from samsara. So one is not using that viveka to that highest level to really see what is the nature of samsara. So for that person, that dharma is a stepping stone. So the first thing with Dharma is that it will give you, at least you will have a good family, a harmonious environment, people around you, and somehow that law of dharma, law of karma will ensure that somehow, even if bad things are done to you, sooner or later they will offset and lead you to a good life. Now, real thing is that that alone is not enough for a sadhaka, because this life may be okay, or maybe next life may be okay, but what about that trap, that cycle of samsara? So there, dharma is just a stepping stone for moksha. So dharma gives that chitta shuddhi, that through that chitta shuddhi means purity of mind. Through that purity of mind, you will seek out that teacher and the teachings. Of course, today, if possible, at the end, I will talk a little bit about it. But that ability to find that guru, that also is a part of some good deeds, which we have done. So the ability to find the teachings, even for those of us who are already interested in Vedanta and in yoga and all that, we have done some good deeds, so that is the result. So from that context, Dharma is helpful. So there again, that Dharma, what is that real Dharma? Just to complete that topic, is that how do we know what is Dharma? So there are, this is where, this is the question that ultimately, once we understand, we can actually move further in this context of this. So how do we know what is dharma? And first of course was, why should I do dharma? Then is, what are the obstructions to dharma? Next is, how do I know what is dharma? So this is the main stumbling block for especially person who wants moksha, who wants freedom. Anybody wants to suggest? I know today lesser people are there, but anyone wants to think about it, or try to answer? How do I know what is dharma? Especially for me. Of course, I have not explained about that much, but any ideas?
So doing your prescribed duties,
That is correct.
responsibilities.
Yeah. But how do I know what is it? What is exactly my duty? Like, this is the dilemma of Arjuna, right? What is dharma? Should I fight the war or not? That is the dilemma, Arjuna's dilemma. Anybody?
He's a warrior, so he has to do his duty of fighting. That is his duty to fight. I am not sure.
Yeah, good. That is correct.
It's,
But how do I know? How do I know that is the duty?
Swamiji, it's a feeling good factor. The moment you do good thing, you feel happy about it. If you have done the wrong thing, we feel miserable inside. I should not have done it.
But let's say, like in Arjuna's case, he kills somebody, and then he feels bad, but he's already done adharma. You have how do you know that? Of course, you're correct. That is what I was explaining. That when you do adharma, there is a mental impression created, and that leaves a negative thing. But a lot of times, people who are constantly doing adharmas, like criminals, they even lose that conscience. That sense of bad feeling will start eroding over time for somebody who has been doing adharma for a long time. Like criminals, criminals don't have that sense of repentance.
Shastra will guide us.
Very good point. That is a good point. Shastra will also guide us. Shastra will, but that alone is not enough. Shastra alone is not enough, but that is a very important tool for us to do dharma.
Swamiji, uh, I mean, there are different types of yogis. So, if someone is a karma yogi, then he has to do karma. Like, if someone is a So different type of yogis. For example, Dhoni in cricket, he's a karma yogi. So yeah, that's what I feel.
Good. Yeah, that is also a good thought. Yeah, if different people have different dharmas, so this is where we'll have to discuss. There is a term called swadharma. So what is swadharma? Uh, that is where like the teachings are based on. How do I know what is my swadharma? So for somebody, at some stage in life, it is recommended they have to be a karma yogi. But that same person at some other stage in life, he's asked to become a vanaprastha in the traditional thing also, He has to let go. Or even in some part, like somebody cannot do some activities. So Vedic also has different instructions like that. Any last thoughts?
Swamiji, can we say dharma is something that my mental impressions is opposing me to do, sort of like is stopping the activities which my mental impressions are stopping me to do is actually dharma probably for me, because dharma is difficult to do. So
That is a good point. Actually, from a little bit from another context, Mother Teresa, she used to say that, whenever you have a conflict, you don't know what is the right thing to do. Choose to do that which is the toughest. So that is a good way to describe dharma, meaning that our instincts and our natural inclinations are pulling us in another direction. And so that which seems natural, is actually not natural in reality, meaning that we say dharma is a natural order of things, but many times for us dharma is not natural, because why does that actually happen? What is that is stopping us? What did we say it was that which stops us from doing dharma? Why are we not able to do dharma? In this
Bad samskaras.
Shamalaji, what did you say?
Bad samskaras.
Samskaras, correct. Yeah, somebody else said.
Is it vasanas?
Vasanas, correct. Vasanas, samskaras. Somebody else said something else. Flavia, is it?
Kleshas and vasanas and samskaras.
Yeah, correct. So all of that, yeah, so that is true. Okay, kleshas, vasanas, samskaras. But from our context, right, Vedantic context is a very important point. How do we do dharma? So actually, Flavia, you had messaged me. I think I can tell you, I can share this. She mentioned like if I calm my mind, can I share that? Is that okay? Yeah. So she said like if I can calm my mind and ask what is right. So many times that is true. If you calm your mind and you're able to find some answer come to you. But many times, in many situations, if you just calm your mind also, you may not know what is the right thing to do. You may at least stop that surge of impulse that is pushing you. So there is something lacking when we want to do dharma. Just calmness alone will not teach us. This is true from a pure hatha yoga, from a pure Patanjali yoga context. Chitta vritti nirodha, and then he says, tada drishtu swarupe avasanam. So in that sense, yeah, you overcome the kleshas and all that. But there also, Patanjali says there is one important thing that is required for that ultimate knowledge. What is that? That is viveka. So from this context of dharma, what is viveka? Viveka here is not our typical nitya viveka. Here viveka is the dharma adharma viveka. And that dharma adharma viveka is what we are trying to explore in this whole thing. Like why are we talking about this inner battle between the Pandavas and Kauravas, we are saying this, there is the inner Pandavas and Kauravas within us. So to know ourselves, to know our own tendencies, negative tendencies, kleshas, vasanas, samskaras, and also our what is the right way to do. So this is where Shastra is helpful, like as one of you said, Shastras. So what is Shastras telling you? Shastra is not going to tell you what your bad tendencies are. Shastra is going to tell you what is the right way to act. How do you go? What is the right actions? But then again, that Shastras will not know what is your position in life. Whether you're qualified for to be a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, that Shastras doesn't know. So it is giving you general teachings. And that general teachings has to be personalized now. So when we study Bhagavad Gita, also many times there are general teachings. So some people are more qualified to be a karma yogi, some are more qualified to be a bhakta. So if you see in many chapters, that is why so many commentaries are there for Gita. A Lord will say bhakta is the greatest of all. Then other persons he says the jnani is the most dear to me. And then in other places he says tada tasmat yogi bhavarjuna, meaning you become a dhyana yogi, a meditative yogi, or a raja yogi. So all the prescriptions he is giving, he says the karma yogi is better than jnana yogi. Jnana yogi is better than bhakta yogi. Bhakta yogi. So everything he will give. So that is where this viveka has to come. This part of viveka, so that calmness again, which we need is that calmness should help us to invoke the right knowledge so we can apply it in right situation. So that is the ultimate use of viveka. Viveka is not just like, I know I've studied all the shastras and then I will apply it in any circumstance like that what the So in my present situation, knowing myself and knowing my own negative tendencies which make me do adharma, and that understanding when all that is happening, then I'm able to sit quiet, pull the right shastras, the right teaching, and apply it in my life. So this is the real way how we are able to do dharma. But now here what happens is that kind of ability is not there for many of us. And for Arjuna also that ability was not there. So then what? He knows the Shastras. You will see that he will quote a lot of Shastras because he studied in Gurukul. He knows the Shastras. And he's also capable. He can calm his mind and all that. Meaning he has done also some sadhanas and all that. And if they may, and also at that ability to know that kleshas, what are the kleshas is also to some extent there. But he is not able to apply it. That is where, that we will see in the second chapter. How does he go about doing dharma? How does he know what is the dharma to do? And so in fact, the last, the final shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Nashto moha smritir labdha. I have, my delusion is gone, he tells Lord, and I will do what you are telling me to do. So what is he saying? He's actually now saying that I'm ready to follow the Guru. I'm ready to follow the teacher. So that is where, the, the other component, especially in the Sampradaya, it comes that when we are lost, when we are conflicted, we don't know which shastras to apply. Until the mind is capable to exercise viveka, we need the help of gurus. Not just maybe one guru, a lineage of gurus, So their teachings, their life, their situations, and their instructions, their counsel. So here this is where, that ability to do dharma, which Arjuna did not have, although he knew the Shastras and although he had done some introspection, he was not able to execute it. Then he turns to his Guru in that thing. Okay, so that is the context. Now I will just move to the next second part of the second shloka, but just as an introduction to the second shloka. So now the first shloka talked about this inner battle, like what is happening in this inner battle. So in same ways it will continue. The different characters of Mahabharata are given different contexts. So just briefly going back, what had happened in the original Mahabharata was that, so those of you not familiar, it's good to know the Mahabharata also to some extent. So there the Pandavas, I mean, before that, the story starts about 3 generations. It starts all the way from Shantanu, who married the personified form of Ganga, Ganga, whom we revere in a formless thing. That personified form of Ganga was whom Shantanu had married, and he had 8 sons, and from there came Bhishma. From that, the 8th son was Bhishma. So now the whole story starts in a way from Bhishma. So this, just to, from our perspective, what does Bhishma represent is, Bhishma represents this klesha called as asmita. That, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, we said, right? Asmita is this, we can call it ego, but it is not an ego from that normal worldly context of ego we are talking about. It is the first sense of I amness, that spark of individual consciousness that gets identified with Prakriti. So it is that pure Purusha condescending to identification with Prakriti. See, that is where it starts, when the Purusha and Prakriti conjoin. So then comes the Mahat and the Ahankara, Asmita also. We say Asmita there. So that individualized Ahankara, Asmita. So the whole story starts from that I am. So if you really look at all our life, when did your life start? Say the day I was born, we don't say that life was going on forever and all that. We say the day I was born, life started, right? So from that context, we say that my father was already there, my parents were already there and all that. So for our story of life also, it begins from I amness. So here the quest in that sense is also that whole battle, everything lead up to that. It's starting from the sense of I amness. And we will explore later on how does this I amness come to an end, how does this, meaning how does this, not just an end. So from our context, it's not an end. How does this I amness come to its realization of its true essence, true nature? So this I amness is identified with the body and mind, and it takes in all that. So in this context, Bhishma decides to join Duryodhana, Kauravas. So what does he get identified with? He's identified with the mind. From the mind flow the senses, right? So all the sons, the 100 sons are the 100 sense faculties, that grow. So that identification of Bhishma with that senses makes him the commander in chief. And then there is Dronacharya. So the second shloka refers to Dronacharya. So Dronacharya is the guru. What is the nature of the guru there? The guru here is not, he's not a guru who is leading them to moksha. He's a guru who is giving them skills for the life, material world. So that kind of a guru, material focused guru. So what is that? That is the new samskaras he's developing in them. He's creating in them different new samskaras, so meaning habits. So this is whom this second mantra, Duryodhana, who is the ambition, he invokes this material, this Dronacharya, who represents this ability to create impressions, samskaras. He doesn't go to Bhishma, who is the commander on chief. He goes to, and then he invokes him and he tells him, see that army that is standing here. So as we know, the second mantra says, Društva tu Pandavanikam, Vyudam Duryodhanastada. So watching that armies, that Pandavas army in particular, then in a Vyuda, arranged in a certain way. Duryodhana then addressed his Acharya. Acharyam upasangamya, Raja vachanam apravid. He speaks to his Acharya. So this is also the manifestation of how things come about, right? Like we address when we want something, when we are desirous of something. What do we first do? We look for our habits. How do our habits get us things, so this is the same thing. Arjuna, with the desire, he's going to his habits, the one who will, So anyway, that is again a symbolic reference here. Now comes so basically what has happened in that story again is that, so they have Yudhishthira, in this case, I had mentioned before that, that Yudhishthira stands for what? Anybody remembers? Okay. So Yudhishthira stands mostly for Dharma.
Vivek.
Viveka, very good. Yeah. So he stands for Viveka, mostly. So there what happens is that he ends up in the play of dice. There's a game of dice that is played in the Mahabharata, and he loses in that dice. So what is the dice? Game of dice represent? The game of dice represents the Maya. That Maya, when it comes, that Viveka is gone, so he gambles, so this is what we say, right? Like that, what happens when your discernment is lost, you will gamble in wrong things, you will get mixed up in wrong things. So that game of dice here represents that Maya, which doesn't allow you to reason, it doesn't allow you to think properly, reason to discern properly. So then he gets caught up in that and loses everything. So then, of course, that story goes on. And so here, end of what is happening is that why I'm bringing up this point is that eventually, when the war is happening, when the war is starting off, so the Bhima there is accompanying. Bhima is accompanying. Is part of the Pandavas, Bhima and the Arjuna. So the Viveka, that ability to do Viveka, needs the help of especially all these other four Pandavas. So who does Bhima represent? What does he represent? Anybody? Yeah, it's good just.
Pran Shakti.
Sorry?
Pran Shakti.
Prana Shakti. Prana Shakti. Otherwise, also what can we say?
Shraddha.
Shraddha, Prana Shakti or Shraddha. See that Shraddha, when many people have Shraddha, right? It will come in the Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Shraddha can be of many kinds. I can have faith in different ways. But if that faith is aligned with Viveka, so then it's a good match. So this is where, that Bhima decides. Bhima is a very good help to Pandavas, and Pandavas benefit from Bhima. So that Prana Shakti and Shraddha align with Viveka, and then that Pandavas get more strength. So in our battle also, that Viveka has to have Shraddha. Viveka has to go along with Shraddha. And then comes Arjuna, which is the Atma Bala, Atma Samyama, self-control, or the strength of the soul, strength of our. But Arjuna here in this case represents one more thing. What is it? Arjuna represents the Jivatma who is in the journey for freedom, for liberation. So this whole journey, especially of this war from a Gita context, is a journey of Arjuna. Huh? So it is a journey of all of us. We are jivas, we are caught up, we are deluded, and we are confused. And we reach out to the Lord, the Guru. And the Guru, through his guidance, guides us, and we do the right actions. We get the knowledge and we become free. So this is a journey of all of us, just as it is the jivatma, the journey. The Arjuna also represents a jivatma. Jiva, when we can say a soul. Atma is the generally from Vedantic context. Atma is that pure consciousness. But when it is caught up in avidya, it becomes a jivatma. So we are all like that. Life after life we are going through, and through guidance of the Lord, we become free. Okay, so I will leave it at this, and the next class we will go through more shlokas. I'll just any questions people have, because I will just end with few minutes of contemplation for Guru Purnima. But if anybody has any brief questions related to what we discussed, you can ask. Feel free to ask.
Swamiji, can I ask Dronacharya, what does he represent? One more time, if you can
So
repeat.
he basically represents the power to create samskaras. Or we can say samskaras itself, but more importantly, he's the one who is the guru in life, meaning he's the one who guides us in life, right? I mean, like he gives people the skills and all that. So he's the one what in our life, what are we guided by? We're guided by samskaras. When you wake up in the morning, it is your samskara which tells you have to brush your teeth or whatever you do. So so he's the guru in daily life. So the guru in our daily life is our habits or samskaras. But more importantly, he's the power to create samskaras. So he can also help us in creating good samskaras also. That is also. So that is why he was the guru for both Pandavas and Kauravas. Anybody else?
Swami, I cannot understand the difference between Ishvara and Prakriti. I see both as the same.
Yeah, so the difference is very subtle. So from a very Sankhya context, because in what happens in Bhagavad Gita is we use a lot of Sankhya language. So in the Bhagavad Gita context, there is no difference between Ishvara and Prakriti in many places. But when we interpret the Bhagavad Gita from a Vedantic context, then what happens? We divide Ishvara as that Parabrahma, that supreme consciousness, who is that Saguna Brahma. From when we try to understand the Gita from a Vedantic context, we say, so then what happens? Prakriti is different from Ishvara from that context. But in most cases in Gita Shlokas, Ishvara, I mean, when we talk about Prakriti, we are referring to that Ishvara only. There's not much difference. Yeah, but so there is where, like I think one more point you had brought up, that when we say that dharma, so dharma when we say is Ishvara, but here what it is, it is that tool of Ishvara. That dharma is the tool of Ishvara. So that tool of Ishvara functions in form of Prakriti. So that Saguna Brahma Ishvara is untainted. He's not touched by anything. But Prakriti is in the creation itself. Yeah. Okay, So, all right. So just, okay, we'll just take a few minutes. So just Thursday is Guru Purnima. So as it's traditional, we will just contemplate just 5 minutes that context of Guru. It's like as as we know that Guru, in the Bhagavad Gita context, Krishna represents the Guru. So the Guru is somebody who we always feel we need in our journey of life. So in the Bhagavad Gita context also, the Guru manifests is there at 3 levels. First, his Guru is there as a friend or a guide to Arjuna. So in the form, Saguna form, he's manifesting. And the other aspect is that in this case, that Guru shows him the Vishwarupa Darshana. He is that Supreme Lord himself, as we were just talking, that Ishvara who is transcendental, that same untainted Ishvara who, or Narayana in this case, Narayana and Ishvara are more or less the same. So the Narayana, who is that Saguna Brahma, that Supreme Lord, manifests as Guru for Arjuna. So we say in this one mantra, sometimes we chant that Ishvaro Guru Rat Meti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. So in talking of Lord Dakshinamurti, we say he is the Ishvara. Ishvara means the Saguna Brahma, that Supreme Lord, who is both transcendental and immanent, meaning he's beyond all creation, but yet he is the one through Maya manifests this creation. So he's untouched by Maya, but yet he controls Maya. So that is the nature of that Lord. Ishvara, Guru Ratmeti, he comes to me as a Guru. So in our things, it is not just one personal Guru, it is a lineage of Gurus. And all the Gurus, all of them in the lineage of Gurus, we have to kind of be in tune with. Like if we are not in tune with the Guru, then we don't get that wisdom. And most importantly, from our context, it is not surrendering to somebody else. Why? Because Ishvara Guru Atmeti, Atma, he's myself, that pure self. So the word Guru, in Guru Gita, one of the texts on very very beautiful text on this one. The word Guru, generally, when we say about the word Gu and Ru, it is explained as Gu is that darkness, Ru is the light. So Guru is the one who takes us from darkness to light. Like for Arjuna, he was in dark, he was deluded. So he took surrender, refuge in the Guru, and he took him to light. So there was a personal form of the Guru. That is a personal Guru he was revealing. But who is that Guru? That Guru Gita says, Gukara cha gunatitam, rukaram rupavarchitam. That Gu stands for Gunatita, the one who is beyond all the gunas. And that Ru stands for the one who is free from all forms. So we say Nirguna, Nirakara. He doesn't have any form. He's beyond all the gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And Gunatita Swarupam cha yo dadyatatsa Guru Smritaha. He says, so the one Guru who stands for that attributeless, formless Brahman, and who bestows that consciousness on us. That is that self, right? That consciousness, Paramatma. That one self is manifesting to us as the Supreme Lord and as the personal Guru. So, of course, there's just some thoughts to contemplate that for us, we start with some Guru or some Gurus, whom we are connected to. And we try to find that inner attunement, as we were just discussing today, right? The times when I don't have the Viveka. So how do I get to that Viveka? I attune to the Guru or to the Guru's teachings. So this is also another way, that personal guidance that is most people, they just take it as the Guru has to be like a personal counselor. It is not necessary. That kind of a necessary relation. But of course, that is In some cases, it is helpful. Some other take Guru to be like some like yogi who will do all miracles for them. That is also not the right kind of relation we want to have. Sometimes the blessings of Gurus may manifest things, but that is not what we should look for, nor for any kind of material benefits. And more importantly, sometimes we think, okay, this is what happened with Arjuna. He thought he was just a friend, he was just a relative. He says later, I thought you to be just a simple friend, and just somebody who has more skills than me, but he's a friend. So those are not the right concepts we want to have. For us to get that knowledge and wisdom, we should try to tune into that Guru. So three ways. First is that personal form of Guru is always helpful. The higher way is to see that Guru as a supreme Lord. So all the things in the universe that's manifesting, in a way, it is leading us in a journey. That journey, all of us are these warriors who are decided to go, like for example, if you're going to climb a mountain, that is a journey you're going to take, right? From here to Badrinath, you have to walk, let's say. So that journey, all through the journey, you need help from different people. So the Lord helps us through different people in different ways. If you are in tune, if you are sure what is the goal. So those are also the ways and use of having the Guru. So with that in mind, we will just take a minute. And of course, the last part which I mentioned, and especially teachers like Ramana Maharshi emphasize on that the Guru is our own self. So we don't have to feel that many times, it is hard to follow the Guru, right? We get into our kind of comfort zones and it is hard to form the Guru, or let alone be of any service. It is hard to even follow their instructions. So in those cases, what happens, like many times we think, okay, I want to change the Guru, I want to make him adapt to me. So that is again, you are losing out that training. So we should have that receptivity to be willing to abide in the Guru. So this Guru Purnima, which is on Thursday, we can all try to use the time to inwardly kind of seek the blessings and inwardly also say that I will follow, I will try to follow the Guru in my own way, as much as I can. So with this, let us just take a minute and in our mind visualize any form of Guru or an attribute and take some sankalpa, and we will say a closing prayer together. Akandamandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Narayana. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Okay, thank you. Stay.